家好，我是11号齐萌萌，我来自于中国首都北京，现在就读于约克大学的 Visual Arts Faculty。我是一个性格开朗、非常喜欢追求创新的新时代女生。我非常喜欢去东方广场，因为那里不但有银行方便理财，还有很多美味的 food court 来慰劳我们的五脏六腑。我们还可以买到自己心意的漂亮手机，还有我最喜欢的很多漂亮、时尚、可爱的服装店。在东方广场还有手艺超棒的发型沙龙，偶尔也让自己换个心情，换个发型吧。说了这么多，难道你不心动吗？东方广场，我最喜欢。
Everyone, thank you for coming. Is the sound levels okay? Does that sound okay for everyone? Yes, I'll take that as a yes. I'm Celia Smith, and I am the director of the Canadian Office of the World Society for the Protection of Animals. To my right is Leslie Eep, who is a host and celebrity, and you all know her. To her right is Patrick Tohill. He is the campaigns manager for the World Society for the Protection of Animals. And to my left is Peter Chen, and he is our Community Outreach Director. The World Society for the Protection of Animals is an international animal welfare organization working to end the suffering of animals. We work together with over 700 humane societies and animal protection groups in 150 countries in our mission to make animals matter and end cruelty towards them. We've invited you to this news conference today to update you on the progress of our work to protect Asian bears. A little over a year ago, the WSPA drafted a statement of support for animal protection and the use of alternatives to bear bile. Our aim in drafting the statement was to secure the endorsements of traditional Chinese medicine associations from around the world, so that we could show that the majority of practitioners are concerned about animals and their welfare, and that they do not prescribe bear bile. The statement, which can be found in this new report titled Highlights from the International Symposium on Traditional Chinese Medicine and Animal Protection, says, I'll read it to you. We express our support for the protection of animals and the promotion of alternatives to bear bile. We believe that the use of bear bile is inconsistent with the modern practice of traditional medicine due to, 1, the many animal cruelty concerns associated with extracting bear bile from captive bears, the concerns also for wild bear populations, which continue to be killed for their bear bile in many countries, and 3, the fact that at present many alternatives and treatments can be used in place of bear bile. We are pleased to announce today that we have secured the endorsements of 14 Canadian and 20 international TCM associations. These associations represent more than 14,000 practitioners worldwide and their support shows that there is agreement within the TCM community that bear bile farming is unnecessary. This joint statement was originally drafted for the International Symposium on Traditional Chinese Medicine and Animal Protection, which was co-hosted by the WSPA and Ryerson University's G. Raymond Chang School of Continuing Studies. The symposium was held in November of 2005. It was attended by a diverse audience of TCM practitioners and researchers, healthcare policymakers, animal welfare proponents, and interested members of the public. And some of the topics included TCM alternatives, avoiding animal torture, and synthetic and natural alternatives to bear bile. The symposium was a catalyst for debate on the use of bear bile, and at the event, the WSPA secured the endorsements of many of the representatives of TCM associations who attended. The statement has continued to gain support, and over the past 15 months, the WSPA has secured more than 24 additional endorsements from countries around the world: the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, and China. The partial list of the supporting organizations can be found at the back of the new report, and it also contains highlights of the presentations made at the symposium. A complete list of those organizations who have signed the joint statement can also be found on our website, www.bearbile.org. Support for our work continues, and more TCM associations are signing every day. To tell you more about some of the other work that we're doing in the second phase of our campaign, I'm going to turn things over to Patrick Tohill, our campaigns manager.
So thank you, Celia. As was said, this year WSPA will be stepping up our bear farming campaign in Canada and our public awareness campaign to protect Asian bears and to promote alternatives to bear bile. There are several key aspects to this. We will be building on the support for the joint statement that was established last year by reaching outside of the TCM associations and the traditional Chinese medical community to try to get the support of the Chinese community at large. And we'll be doing this by seeking the support of Chinese Canadian business associations and other opinion leaders within the Chinese community in Canada. As importantly, we'll be seeking the support from the public for a very simple statement, a sort of stripped down version of the joint statement, if you will, that says simply, protect Asian bears and don't use bear bile. And this appeal was first introduced last summer at an awareness event held during the Markham's Taste of Asia Festival. And after only 3 events, 2 in Markham and 1 in Mississauga, we have achieved 13,000 signatures on our giant fabric scroll, which you see here, a piece of this scroll laid out on our boardroom table. And this scroll, this is only 50 meters worth of fabric. It's more than a meter high, and it's 15 meters long. And we have at least 10 of these sections, so we have 150 meters of fabric, which we aim to cover, from one end to the other with signatures. And we got off to a good start, as I said. Last year we collected 13,000 signatures. We'll be collecting many more. That was just 3 events. We'll be doing a whole series of events this spring. And we're hopefully going to target the West Coast, because everything we did last year was in the Greater Toronto area. We'll be heading west to Calgary and also Vancouver, and we possibly might even get to Montreal, so we might head east as well. Stamped on the scroll is a bear paw print, which you see produced at large up here, but it's also on the scroll, and it says in English and Chinese, protect Asian bears, don't use bear bile. I think it's a very simple statement that most people can get behind. And the reason for this message is that obviously the main users of traditional Chinese medicine are obviously still people in the Chinese community who've grown up and learned to use bear bile perhaps at their grandmother's knee. And we're asking people to look for alternatives. What the doctors very clearly told us at the symposium at Ryerson University, and what we're hearing increasingly from traditional Chinese medicine practitioners in Canada and around the world, is that there are many alternatives to bear bile. From Tui Na to acupuncture to Chinese herbal medicine, alternatives abound, and it is not necessary for bear bile to be used. It is not necessary for bears to be confined to tiny cages in which they can barely move to produce these medicines. It's not necessary for bears to be hunted in the wild for their gallbladder. Neither the suffering of the bears in Korea and in Vietnam and in China in the bear farms is necessary, and the hunting of bears for their gallbladders is not necessary either. There are many alternatives, and we have seen a great outpouring of sentiment and support for this appeal, and I think we will continue to see more support gather momentum as we enter phase 2 of this campaign, and we really intensify our efforts. Along with this intensification of our efforts come a series of ads which were launched in 2007 beginning in January and will continue for the next 2 months in Chinese newspapers. 4 major Chinese newspapers in Canada nationwide are running a series of ads which Peter is holding to my left, and it's on the exact same theme. Bear bile is unnecessary. Bear farming is unnecessary. These bears are suffering. Bear farming is cruel, and there are alternatives. So this is a practice that should be phased out. We want it to end, and we're very clearly saying that. And we think that the communities, the Chinese community in Canada and the Chinese community in the United States and in Australia and in the other countries where we have offices and are working on this campaign, the Chinese community can help us by sending a very clear message, a very clear statement to our appeal, by endorsing our appeal and adding their signatures to our petition scroll when they see us out in the community. By going to the website offers information, bearbile.org. It will be promoted in the TV commercials that will be coming soon. It will be promoted in the newspaper ads, and there is not yet an online appeal added to that, but we're working on an online appeal where people can basically add their name to the appeal right online. So this will be something to look forward to in the coming months, is an online appeal, and hopefully a whole revamping of the website as well, which is underway. So we're going to go with the Friends of the Bears theme, and we will be changing the entire website, giving it a fresh new look, and friendly characters and a more friendly aspect to it. So we have lots of stuff underway. One very exciting thing that I wanted to announce today is we are working on an ad for television, which we'll be shooting on Monday, and it will feature Leslie Eat, who is well known. I don't even need to introduce Leslie, I'm sure, to you all, for her work on television and radio, and her columns that appear in the newspaper, as well as her many appearances at community events. What may not be as well known is that Leslie has a great and abiding affection for animals, stemming from her companionship with the many pets that she has had over the years, which she was telling me about, and that's why she said she is pleased to join with us in this campaign. And as I said, the ads and both the television ads that Leslie will be featured in, and also the radio ads, are going to promote this idea that these bears don't need to live in these small cages. It's not a necessary thing. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Leslie and she'll talk a little bit more about her involvement in the campaign. We have a lot of technical things to sort out here.
Well, the best way is to remove the water.
Okay. Well, we're advertising for the water as well. Well, first of all, thank you, Pat. I'd like to thank the WSPA for inviting me to be a friend of the bear. As Pat just said, I have always been very fond of animals, and well, my childhood home actually looked like a zoo rather than a place for human habitation. And I'm also a teddy bear collector, and that's one of the reasons why many years ago, when I was surfing on the net, I came across this short video about bear bile farming, and that's before I learned about the WSPA. And when I looked at the video, I felt the same chill in me that I can, still feel right now as I think about it. It is very cruel, and it is not necessary, and that is why when Peter invited me to become a spokesperson for this project, I said yes immediately. I would volunteer my time and to appear in any ads that they would need me to, in order to spread the word that bear bile is not necessary and it's cruel. So, well, Pat told us a little bit about the production of the PSA. I'm going to continue in Chinese for the benefit of our Chinese media here. 今次好榮幸可以幫到世界保護動物聯會去到宣揚關於紅膽汁呢一個嘅活動。咁由於我由細到大都已經係好中意動物㗎啦，咁再加上喺幾年前曾經喺互聯網睇過關於亞洲熊點樣俾人哋韞喺好細嘅籠入邊，好殘忍嘅對待，去到攞呢啲紅膽汁，我覺得作為現代嘅人類，其實係冇理由要對其他嘅動物作出呢啲咁殘忍嘅行為咯。另外，可能好多人咧平時對熊人嘅認識，可能喺動物園啦，又或者好多女仔會儲下啤啤熊咁樣。咁其實喺我哋嘅心目中，包住啤啤熊都係有一啲嘅愛護有一啲嘅中意嘅感覺。咁但係如果我哋認為喺藥用嘅時候需要咁樣去殘害一啲嘅熊人，於心何忍呢？再加上就係而家已經有好多嘅實驗，好多嘅研究話俾我哋聽，其實用紅膽汁呢樣嘢係一啲都唔需要嘅。咁所以當陳嘉年先生啦同埋 WSPA 今次揾我去支持呢一個嘅活動嘅時候，義不容辭，即刻就話我一定會幫手盡力為。而喺我哋星期一將會拍攝嘅呢一個宣傳片入邊啦，將會係主題當然就係叫大家唔好用紅膽汁啦，亦都希望帶出一個信息就係、其實紅膽呢一樣嘢嘅療效喺好多其他嘅中藥或者其他嘅醫學上面咧都可以取替嘅，包括推拿啦、針灸啦，同埋一啲嘅藥用嘅中藥。
We'll take questions now. But then at the end, we would like to invite Leslie to sign our poster here, which says "Protect Asian Bears, Don't Use Bear Bile," and also if she can add her name to the scroll as well. And if people want to take pictures of that, take video of that. In terms of legislation, you really can't export bear bile because all of the bears that are used in the bear farms are endangered species. Predominantly they're Asiatic black bears, also known as the moon bears. But we also have sloth bears and sun bears, and all three are endangered species. So under the Convention on the International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, which is an international treaty about protecting endangered species, you cannot export any kind of endangered species products, part or derivatives, so you can't export bear bile. So while it's legal to actually produce bear bile in China, and it's legal to produce bear bile in Korea, it's in fact never been legal to produce it in Vietnam, despite the fact that it goes on there. It's illegal under a Vietnamese national law to actually farm bears. But in Korea and China, you can extract bear bile and you can sell it domestically. But to export it would be to break the international treaty the CITES treaty. And so it is, as was mentioned, a very gray market or black market product. As our 2000 investigation into the trade showed, it reaches into many countries. We find bear bile in Canada, and it was sold very openly on the shelves in 2000, in TCM shops. We have not undertaken a full-scale investigation since that 2000 investigation, but we have done some preliminary looking into the TCM shops, and we're not finding, we still find it on shops today, but it's not to the same extent as it once was. So, but do we know whether it's still being traded underground? We can't say that for sure. I mean, it's easy to go into the stores and check to see whether it's still on the shelves. It's perhaps a little bit less than it was, but it's still on the shelf. But there's certainly a black market trade in this product. A lot of the product that is sold in Canada is from bears that are killed in Canada, so bears that are poached illegally and hunted for their gallbladders. And some of it is the actual manufactured product, which is clearly labeled as being manufactured in China. So it's not supposed to be in here, but it's easy to, just as with any profitable product, whether it's illegal drugs or illegal guns, the illegal trade in endangered species products, continues to thrive, whether it's bear bile or tiger bone or rhino horn, or if you want these things, you'll get them, and it's simply not possible to keep all of it out. So I think that according to Interpol, the illegal trade in endangered species products is third only to the trade in drugs and the trade in guns internationally. So it's a thriving trade worth billions of dollars.
So any idea how much does it cost in the street value for bear bile?
Well, again, our investigations now go back a few years, where we actually looked at the sale of gallbladders. At the time, in 2000, you could purchase a whole gallbladder for $600, or a piece of one, like a gram, a small piece for $50. It was sold both ways, either as a whole gallbladder or as pieces that you would cut up. And if you think about the fact that the most recent bust, which I think was in 2003, the Canadian federal authorities with Environment Canada working with the Toronto Police Service and with the Sûreté de Québec, there was a large bust of a poaching ring in Quebec where they confiscated, I think, 600 gallbladders. So if you think that 600 of them were confiscated, and each had a street value of $600. You're talking about big bucks. So it's a very lucrative trade, and people are hunting these bears anyway, and it's very tempting to hunt them for their gallbladders. And there's many instances where wildlife authorities report having found bear carcasses in the woods with just their gallbladders or their paws removed. And the paws are used as a delicacy, mostly in the Korean community, and people would consume the paws and believe that it gives them some health benefit, or just for the taste of it. So these problems continue to be experienced, and wildlife authorities obviously are working to combat this, but with any illegal product, it's very difficult.
So what is the penalty for the people who trade bear biles, and what about the customers? Will they be charged if they are found buying bear bile?
It's actually differs from province to province. Some provinces ban only the sale of gallbladders, so the person who would be charged would be the person selling it, not the customer. Others ban the sale and the possession of bear galls. Some ban actually the bear galls. Others will actually ban the medicines as well. They'll say any part or derivative. So the wording differs from different jurisdictions. Ultimately, there's not a lot of enforcement on the store side of things. So it's mostly on the poaching end. So in terms of the manufactured medicines, the ones that are coming from the bear farms, which are our main concern, is the suffering of these bears in captivity. There's not a lot of agencies who are looking at, are these products being sold on the shelves? The concern mainly seems to be about the actual gallbladders of bears that are poached in Canada. And that's because the mandate of most provincial wildlife authorities is to protect native species of animals, and they're not as concerned about these illegal products that are coming in internationally. That is the domain of the Environment Canada Wildlife Branch, which polices airports and also ports of call, seaports. But there just aren't enough enforcement agencies to catch all of it, and there aren't enough enforcement officers to catch all of it. So penalties vary from province to province. Most involve a fine, some involve jail time, and again, it's mostly for the sellers of the illegal products, not for the purchasers, but some do make it illegal to possess.
What about Ontario?
I believe in Ontario, both the possession and sale of gallbladders is banned, and I think that it's a gray area when it comes to the actual manufactured medicines, because there's nothing in the legislation about bear bile itself. It's more, on the gallbladders.
So we don't know the penalty.
I don't know the penalty off the hand. I can look into it for you.
So you're really thinking
on the consumer, we want to try to convince people to not use bear bile, to use alternatives instead, and let the authorities do their jobs in terms of the enforcement of the poaching and the other stuff. Obviously, if we had the power to stop the trade, we would, but we can't do much about the supply side, so we're looking at the demand side of things. As I said, it's going into production next week, so it should be airing this spring. We'll be looking at editing in March and probably rolling out early in the spring.
Leslie, I'd like to present this to you and know that you endorse the statement that is within this booklet. Thank you.
big shout. Just hold on.
Just to make sure. So.
Okay, be here.
Here, please.
Này cái đâu không?
Này cái đó. NGO. Take one.
咁你先好多個㗎啦。
係我冇問題，嗰個50個 meter 㗎。
Yeah.
其實可唔可以請埋你哋企埋後邊側邊
Would you like to yes stand behind Leslie?
I cannot take two 啦。
今日個記者招待會主要咧就係我哋係去等大眾知道唔好用紅膽救下呢個亞洲黑熊。咁其實最主要嘅原因咧就係因為嗰啲亞洲黑熊咧就會俾人哋韞咗喺個好細嘅籠度，根本唔轉得生嘅籠嗰度咧，就係跟住咧就喺個腹部咧係去開咗，就去插支管入去抽取紅膽汁嘅。咁所以變咗用紅膽汁咧，其實咧間接咧就令到嗰隻熊咧係受好多苦啊！咁所以如果我哋唔用紅膽汁咧，其實都可以用好多其他唔同嘅呢個嘅代替品嘅，包括咗差唔多70種嘅中草藥啦，呢個針灸啦、推拿等等咧，其實都可以有同紅膽汁嘅效果差唔多嘅呢啲嘅治療嘅效用嘅啊。
簡單講講 WSPA
係呢個世界保護動物聯會呢個 World Society for the Protection of Animals 簡稱 WSPA 啦，係一個世界嘅組織，係一個聯合國嘅從屬機構。咁佢哋有咧就有我哋有600幾個嘅會員機構，就 就有差唔多40萬嘅呢個嘅會員支持者嘅嚇。咁我哋喺170個國家嗰度服務，咁同埋咧喺呢個服務嗰度咧，包括咗3個層次。一個層次咧就係大眾嘅教育同埋呢個推廣意識啦。第二方面咧就係同專家合作，希望可以藉此咧去減低呢個嘅動物嘅受苦。同埋第3樣咧就係同呢個嘅政府咧係去幫助政府一齊去搞立法呢方面嘅，等呢個嘅動物可以有更多嘅福利。咁所以整個嘅過程之中咧，我哋亦都可以即係藉此咧，能夠係進入第4個層面，就係動物本身嚟講咧係會備受重視，同時另外一方面咧，亦都係令到佢哋免受痛苦，以及增加佢哋嘅福利。
你覺得公眾有咩可以做到幫到你哋？
喺公眾嗰度咧其實咧你哋可以係有幾方面去支持保護動物嘅。第一方面咧就係愛護動物啦，係基本上嘅呢個。第二方面咧就係唔好用有關用動物嚟做嘅嗰啲嘅產品啦。第3方面咧就係將呢個信息傳出去。咁同時另外一方面咧，亦都係可以係支持我哋個會啦，或者其他有一啲差唔多性質嘅一啲嘅愛護動物嘅會啦，咁樣。
I'm the general manager of the Sheraton Hotel, mainly a business hotel catering to business travel, government travel, as well as small to medium sized conferences and conventions. That we are downtown, located right among all the Parliament building and close to the convention center and close to all the attractions, the museums and the Rideau Canal, etc. So we have a very primary location in downtown Ottawa. We have 236 rooms. We have 2 very good restaurants. We have the Sasha's Bar, which is a library bar off the lobby. We have the Carlton Grill, which is renowned for its good food and for breakfast and power lunches and power breakfast. And we have the Club Lounge, and we are a full-service Sheraton hotel with all the amenities. Over 10,000 square foot of meeting space, which is all newly renovated in the last 3 years. And the hotel is in wonderful condition, and the biggest assets we have are obviously our staff and our associates. The hotel was built in 1972. It started out as a 4-season hotel, and the current ownership purchased it from Four Seasons in 1989. Ottawa is obviously a business city and business destination because of the government. We have a wonderful Winterlude facility along the Rideau Canal, the world's largest skating rink. We have great festivals, the Tulip Festival, the whole summer we have a great array of festivals. And indoor you have the greatest national museums in the city. Ottawa is a 4-season year-round destination to visit. If people like to have more information about what's going on, they call the hotel directly or contact it through our website, SheratonOttawa.com.